Mal, my guest today is a woman who was forced to undergo female genital mutilation at the age of just 7 in her native country of Somalia. In a difficult childhood, she lived for a while in London before being sent back to Somalia, where she was raped, beaten, and forced to marry her cousin. Eventually, with help from some of her family, she managed to get back to London. And she's turned, though, what happened to her into a force, now campaigning to try and help others who've suffered from female genital mutilation, notably young people. Her activism means now she's had over 70 million views of her videos on TikTok. Well, Shamsa Araweelo joins us now. Shamsa, I know you've been receiving treatment, and it's very good of you to join us, in fact, from your hospital bed. I know you particularly wanted to make sure that you were able to talk to us today. Let's start on a positive note. I mean, congratulations to you on what you've been able to achieve, really, to turn what happened to you into a force for good. How have you been able to do that?
Honestly, it's because I know that women like me exist, and often we are, seen as voiceless. But I want to show them that they have more power than they believe or they are made to believe. And honestly, I've lived through it. There are many young girls whose lives have been cut short, who have bled to death, who have contracted infections, diseases, had a very high risk of death during labor. There are some who even died during labor. And I was able to give birth naturally. I lived through the practice, the procedure itself. So I consider myself very lucky and very privileged. And whilst I am alive, I'm going to use it for good.
I watched some of your videos yesterday, and they're quite graphic, the way you explain to younger people. I mean, you use rubber models, don't you, to kind of explain to them, pretty graphically exactly what the problem is and what's happened.
Yes, and the reason why I do that, and it hasn't been done before anywhere from what I have seen and from my research, is because often when we talk about female genital mutilation, it's only the practice that is spoken about. It has been dehumanized, in my opinion. So I wanted people to see exactly what this practice looks like. It is not just me describing it to you, is not enough. I want people to understand what it actually looks like to go through type 1, type 2, type 3 female genital mutilation, even type 4 female genital mutilation. Because as a world, some people are visual learners and others are not. I am a visual learner, and if you describe something to me, it would be very hard for me to imagine. But if you show it to me, then I can comprehend it a little bit more. And it shows in the reach. It has reached over 100 million now, to be 100 million now, in terms of for the whole year now, everybody who has come to my page and who has viewed my videos has always learned something, learned something new, which I find very interesting, because if you're learning something new from me, what was taught before me? So I realize that there's a massive gap, and I am humanizing making people understand that we are humans.
It happened to you a long time ago, obviously, when you were just 7 years old in Somalia. I mean, why did it happen to you? Was it just seen as normal there?
It happened to me when I was 6 years old. But before it happened, it was something that was so openly spoken about. It was something that I knew that I was going to get eventually. I witnessed that young girls at the age of 9 or 10, which I considered, too old to have it too late. It's not too late; they will still get it done, but they don't want to wait until the child is that old. They would rather do it when they are a lot younger, 4, 5, 6, 7, and. If a girl went up to the age of 8 or 9 and she didn't have it done, she would be bullied and ridiculed by the whole community, by friends, by adults, by children, there was no peace. You would walk around and they would say, "Hey, she's got her clitoris. That's disgusting. Look at the girl with the clitoris." So it gets you to a point where you think, okay, I will be a lot more respected if I get it done. But there is never any idea of what it actually means to have female genital mutilation.
And it's a massive problem, isn't it? I mean, this is 200 million girls and women from 31 different countries we're talking about here.
It's actually more than 30. It's currently still practicing in 31, but female genital mutilation is widespread.
And what do you think needs to be done to help people now? I mean, it's very difficult as well, isn't it, for people to get treatment afterwards if it's happened, even if you can stop it in the first place?
Absolutely. So for me, for example, for the past 24 years, I received no medical care, barely any medical support. I was criminalized more than I was supported medically. Because again, it was dehumanized, so we were, even though I'm a mom, I was all of a sudden being seen as the criminal now that I have a daughter. Are you going to do it to your child? It's like, but no, I don't plan on doing it to my child, but I came to you because I'm written physically. But unfortunately in the UK, they do not have reconstructive surgery available to us. They have a procedure called defibrillation, which is if you have type 3 FGM and you are physically sewn together, and it's healed scar tissue. So I've had 24 years old healed scar tissue. It's not stitches. There's no stitches. It's healed together, the damaged scar tissue. And the defibrillation is basically opening your wound up, that healed scar tissue, just up to where your urination hole is, and they stop. And the reason why they do this is because they don't know what else to do after that. If they open the rest, the clitoris hood area, then no problem.
Shamsa, I'm going to have to interrupt you. It's great to talk to you on the programme. I hope the rest of your treatment goes well. Thank you for joining us. I know you wanted to talk to us, even though you're in hospital recovering. So good luck to you. And her charity is called Garden of Peace, by the way. So if you want to look it up, it's called Garden of Peace.